Welcome to the Corridor of Uncertainty, a podcast at the intersection of maths and sport. I'm Rich.
And I'm Jess.
And we're both mathematicians at the University of York who love to go on about sport, so we thought we'd record it and force our family to watch it through YouTube. What are we going to talk about today then, Jess? Well,
the loyal viewers, i.e. our families, will remember that at the start of the MLB season, we did, some episodes around that, and I promised I'd introduce you to a metric that you were going to absolutely love, called the Pythagorean Theorem of Baseball.
Yes, yeah, I was amazed to find it works, and it's in all other sports as well. People have done variants of it. Yeah. So that's really interesting.
And I'll do a quick explainer today, but if you want to see, there's a full video that's just devoted to the Pythagorean win percentage. So if you want to know more about this, go there. But what we find is that it's actually a good, halfway through the season, it's a good predictor of your winning percentage at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And we said, we'll have to revisit this. I was that first day of the season. We'll have to revisit this halfway through and see if we can make some predictions.
I think the point was that it's better than your win percentage is at that halfway point, that at predicting whatever your ending win percentage is.
Yep.
So it's kind of maybe reflecting something underlying rather than your current win percentage.
Yes. So, as I say, I'm going to do the quick explainer now, but we'll link to it in the comments, etc., for the full version. But I'll do a quick explainer now. So the Pythagorean Theorem of Baseball, excellently named, creation of our hero, Bill James. It's relating the number of runs that a team has scored and allowed to the actual winning percentage.
Yeah.
And it's the idea that the difference between the runs scored, the run allowed is actually a better indicator of future performance than your actual current winning percentage. And we'll see in a minute exactly, I'll discuss briefly why that is, but it gives you this lovely formula that's referred to as the Pythagorean win percentage that you can see. So it's taking these two things, runs scored and runs allowed, relating them in this way. So your win percentage can be approximated using runs scored squared over runs scored squared plus runs allowed squared. And all those squares are reminiscent of everyone's favourite formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, the theorem of Pythagoras.
So I suppose if you were thinking of it as in a Pythagorean fashion, the bottom would be like the length of the hypotenuse, or the square of the length of the hypotenuse, and the top would be like the square of the length of one of the sides. So it's like somehow how slanty your triangle is, in some ways. Slanty your baseball triangle is.
Interesting. We'll save it for another day, Rich, because we've got much to talk about today. Obviously, it was counterintuitive to us when we were talking about this in the previous episode that something other than win percentage could be a good predictor of win percentage. But it's coming from this idea that, obviously, a baseball team wants to win games. How do you win a game? You score more than the other team.
Yeah.
So it's that idea, really.
Way.
It's saying that once a sufficient number of games have been played, then that difference is actually a good indicator of how well the team's playing.
Yeah.
Because it could be that, you've had lots of wins, but they were very tight, 1-0s or whatever. And so looking at a win percentage, you might look fantastic, but then it's not quite as indicative of your performance than if we could see that you'd been absolutely dominating 10-0 every single time, then that'd be these are the real deal.
Yeah, so it's like maybe over the course of the year, those times when you lose one to a bloop single in extra innings, those average out and leave behind the real value of how good you are by the end of the season over more games.
Yeah. So the idea is this, and I think this is the tricky bit to get your head around, and it's explored a little bit in the other video. We only go into it briefly, but we're making lots of assumptions here. So given that, nothing's going to substantially change from now till the end of the season, which is a huge assumption that you're not going to, have injuries or trades or whatever.
Or players come back from injury.
Yeah. But so
99.
Barring all of that, theoretically, it's your actual win percentage approaches the Pythagorean win percentage, not the other way around.
Right.
So you might think,
Yeah.
So you might think more data, the Pythagorean win percentage starts to approach the true
Yeah.
win percentage, but it's actually the opposite way
Well,
around.
your
That
actual
actually,
win percentage, as in
starts to
there is a real
approach
one.
this value that's the difference in your runs scored, runs against with some squares in there.
Yeah.
So basically, the key sentence that we said last time was because of that, your Pythagorean win percentage or your expected win-loss percentage is a good predictor of performance mid-season. It was that sentence that captured us and we went, we need to look at this,
We need to check
revisit this
this.
mid-season, and here we are.
Yep.
Just a slight detour. Again, watch the other video for more details. The beautiful thing about the Bill James formula is the simplicity that you've got these squares in there and it's reminding you of Pythagoras. But of course, again, like we've seen on the corridor, mathematicians don't like to kind of just settle for that. It's like always trying to improve things. So people have looked at, well, could we play with that power? Could we, tweak it to get something even better at predicting the win percentage? So we did that in the previous episode and we found a value of 1.8 actually seemed to be optimal, which is sort of fits with what other sabermetricians, that's baseball mathematicians, have found.
So what that probably reflects then is actually the Pythagorean theorem for a non-Euclidean geometry. Now that's a real one for the sabermetricians, but that's definitely for another day. Non-Euclidean geometry, so definitely not for this podcast.
You can take that one, Rich.
Yeah.
So we're ecstatic, aren't we? We love this. We love this formula. So I'm gonna calculate both actually, but you'll see in a moment it's not mega different. But just to say that whenever I'm talking about Pythagorean win percentage, I just thought we wanted the corridor of uncertainty version. So usually I'm taking the one that has 1.8, but you'll see for some of the stuff that we do, it doesn't matter. We could have taken the square as well. Mm-hmm. Happy so far?
Yeah, I like the square. It's, as you say, the beautiful simplicity of the straightforward form.
Mathematicians love the simplicity, the elegance. That's what they always talk about. So, right. Let me take you behind the scenes, viewers. We'd made this plan that we were going to revisit this midway point through the season. I'm watching the Mets the other night lose. And I realised that they'd played their 81st game. There's 162 games in a baseball season, so we were at the midpoint of the season. And so bell rang in my head, it's time to revisit the Pythagorean win percentage.
Yeah.
But this is true in lots of sports, but I think it's particularly true in American sports, especially baseball, where they're playing lots and lots of games and they're series. Not all teams have played on a particular day the same number of fixtures.
There could be rainouts as well. And
yes. So I sent you a message, Rich, saying, what do we think's the best approach? For them all to have 81 games halfway through, or take a day in time and have, everybody's the same in that it's what was happening on that day. And there was one version of that that's harder than another. So I had in my head, there's a sensible choice here, and then there's a different choice. And then what did you come back with? Which did you pick?
I said, I'm not sure whether it's sensible or thing, but the halfway point at 81 games. That means that every team has had the same chance to score runs and concede runs, so giving a robust measure. Yeah.
So that was in my heart also what the right thing to do was, but my head was, this is a complete nightmare.
It's a lot easier to just say date before and after.
It was hard enough finding the actual runs scored and runs allowed as a nice total. Thank you to the ESPN website. But yeah, so I had to, what I could have done was kind of be checking it every single day and waiting for each team to hit 81 and then just pulling it all out. But I didn't do that. I did it on two days. And so I had to kind of remove... It's fine removing a number of wins, right? Well, you're 2 over, so I need to take those 2 wins off you. But calculating, subtracting all the runs that were scored, that you scored and scored against you, took a lot of time. But I've triple checked it.
Right.
I really want it to be right. So if the eagle-eyed viewer thinks I've got any of these things wrong, tell me and I'll tweak it. But I've triple checked them and I think the runs scored, runs against are correct. So you're ready to see what we've got. So after 81 games then, I've got all 30 baseball teams, and they're ordered now by their true win percentage. So, for example, at the top there, we've got the LA Dodgers. They've won 52 out of their 81 games, giving them a win percentage of about 64%.
Yeah, I think a lot of people might suggest, yes, the Dodgers are the best team in baseball.
We'll see. So if you look at their runs scored and runs allowed, they've scored 423. They've allowed 279. So there's a massive difference between those two numbers. So that means actually their Pythagorean win percentage is higher than their win percentage. So they are not as good as they look. Sorry, they're better than they look.
They're better than they look. I was going to say, so that would make, that's a lot of runs. You would have thought that would. But that, in some ways, well, maybe we'll discuss this later, but like the fact that their win percentage isn't as good as their Pythagorean win percentage, doesn't that mean they should be doing better? But maybe it means over the course of the season it'll average out.
Yeah, it's meaning that, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe you don't beat yourself up too much about not hitting that gap, because it will probably average out.
That's the point. It will. In the limit, they'll go towards it. It's just saying these aren't, you can see from the totals, these aren't marginal victories. They are truly dominating these teams, truly deserving to win. So, the difference is it's adding about 4% onto that win percentage. So we could then look at the differences between your actual win percentage and your Pythagorean win percentage. In this one, like I said, I've gone with the code of uncertainty one with that 1.8, just because we would get differences here. And we can see that the team that gets the biggest boost.
So the biggest boost from their Pythagorean win percentage.
So that means that they are better than they seem.
Right.
Is your favourite team the Boston Red Sox. So,
right, so this formula is incorrect then, and it's actually, this whole theorem is disproven.
Well, their win percentages they've won 35 out of their 81 games, so they're what we'd call a sub 500 team, losing more than they're winning.
Yeah.
So it gives their win percentage at about 43%. But if you look at their runs scored, 323, slightly more than their runs allowed, 319.
So is there a correction for being small ball losers and playing in a terrible ballpark that doesn't allow interesting baseball games?
So that fact...
You can maybe tell my allegiances from...
the fact that they've actually scored more than they've allowed means that their Pythagorean win percentage is tipping them into having a winning season, right? They're tipping them over 50%.
I wouldn't be surprised they've had a managerial change that, they seem to be coming into form. Just swept the Yankees.
This will be important later. So the opposite of that, a team that's not as good as they seem. So at the bottom of this league table is the Tampa Bay Rays.
Right.
So their win percentages, they've won 48 out of 81, so they've got a winning percentage of about 59%. But runs scored 366, runs against 342. So still going to have a over 500, which is about 53%. But this means that actually those differences is about 6%.
Yeah.
So almost.
So we're going to expect them to get a bit worse over the course of the season.
Yeah, they might fade. They might fade.
And I'm sure you're happy about the second in the list there as well.
So
can I just, before we move on, second in that list of people who are better than they look, the Detroit Tigers. They said they've just beaten Yankees as well. And actually, I think that's very interesting because they are a good team. They do look like a good team, but they're below 500 currently. So I was amazed to see this. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have a better season than it looks.
So still not scored as many as they've conceded. So they're still sub 500. But they're getting like a 7%
the last few games have helped them.
It's closer,
helped them in terms of runs scored, certainly.
So we can, and this is currently what would happen if you go on the, like I say, ESPN website, you can order the whole league by win percentage, which we'll see in a moment isn't quite what you want to do, but anyway. So we could do the same thing now, but order by Pythagorean win percentage. So if we do that, this is what we get. So now you can see the Pythagorean win percentage column is now going this lovely spectrum, but we're seeing if you look over across to the win percentages for those teams, that there's some red blobs where you know.
Yes, there's some standouts.
That look weird, and one of them is Boston. We just talked about. Another one's Detroit. So they've like shot up the list.
Yeah.
So what we can see is the top two, the Dodgers and the Milwaukee Brewers, are still the top two.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll be pleased to know, Rich, that the Yankees have leapfrogged the Atlanta Braves and gone into third. So we've seen a swap between those two.
I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, we'll carry on.
So both of them, the Yankees and the Atlanta Braves, are better than they seem. They get a little bit of a boost from the Pythagorean win percentage, but
I'm not sure this is currently weighting the last 10 games enough, but
you'll be pleased to know, Rich, in that when I had to manually go through and remove games and stuff, I was removing some of the losses against the Red Sox.
Yes.
So the Red Sox are even better than this.
Say the last.
Would say. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we've got these, we've got them in order of Pythagorean win percentage. Well, we can think about who would be making the postseason then. Mm-hmm. Okay. So again, we could do who's making the postseason based on the win percentage, which is how it's done.
Yeah.
Or we can think, obviously we're halfway through and we think that this Pythagorean win percentage is a better indicator of what those win percentages will be like at the end of the season. So we could make a Pythagorean win percentage version right now and see what differences we get.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's a slight complexity in that, as with every North American sport, in the postseason structure. I'm not going to go into the detail of it all with wildcard games and buys from the first round and so on and so forth. But we will just touch on the aspects of that we need today. But basically, as we've discussed, we've got 30 baseball teams. They are actually in two leagues. Mm-hmm. The National League, some would say the best league, even though it always loses the All-Star game. The National League contains the Mets.
Yep.
And the American League, the other 15 teams, that's got the Yankees in it. And then within those leagues, there's divisions. So those 15 teams are then split again 3 times into 3 sets of 5 into 3 little divisions. Again, we've talked about this it's similar for the NBA and so on. They're kind of regional, these leagues.
Yep.
Anyway, so the way that the MLB postseason works, very briefly, is that we're going to take 6 teams from each league. Mm-hmm. The top 3 are going to be the winners of those divisions.
Yep.
Then they'll be ordered by win percentage.
Yep.
If there's a tie, there's ways of breaking it. The next 3 are take those out of the equation, across all the divisions, who's got the next 3 best winning percentages.
Yep.
So you could take them all out of the same division if it's some super division. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then very quickly, like I say, these ones that are in the sort of best placed losers type of thing, they're going to go into some wildcard games and so on. As I said, that'll be slightly important later. But pretty much what we need to do is get 6 teams from each league. Winners, they are then ordered by win percentage, and then next 3 ordered by win percentage also.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yep.
So if we were doing the postseason after 8-1 games, this is what it would look like. So for the most important league, the National League, we've already talked about these 2 teams. The Dodgers, the LA Dodgers and the Milwaukee Brewers are actually in different divisions. So they are going through as the winners of those divisions. And then we talked about them already, the Atlanta Braves come into the 3rd place in this league. Then our next 3 best teams, we've got the Philadelphia Phillies, the Chicago Cubs, and the San Diego Padres. Mm-hmm. Okay? Yep. Now let's go over to the American League, which is slightly more complex after 81 games. Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees actually, after 81 games, had a equal winning percentage.
Yeah.
And I looked into it. The way that would be decided is your head-to-head record in the season. So I've gone back and I've looked, and Tampa Bay have got that.
Their head-to-head currently.
So they would go into top seed.
Yeah.
And the Yankees, even though, as we've seen, they are way up there in terms of win percentages, fall to the 4th seed because now they're a runner-up.
Yeah.
And the Chicago White Sox and the Seattle Mariners get second and third because they've won those divisions.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, as we've discussed, we already know the Yankees would be in the fourth place, and then fifth we get Cleveland, and then in sixth it's a tie. There are three teams on a record of 39 and 42.
Three losing teams, yeah.
Percentage. Texas Rangers, Oakland Athletics, and the Toronto Blue Jays.
No longer Oakland Athletics, but... Yeah.
Sorry. They'll always
Athletics.
be Oakland Athletics in my mind.
Yeah, they are. Should be.
Now, this is the interesting thing. I was hearing some discussion on this when I was watching the baseball last night. As we've said, historically, I would have said people maybe argue that the American League is stronger, wins the All-Star game. But we're talking here that joint sixth place in terms of winning percentage is a losing record. Yeah,
but you play more in conference games, don't you? So in the interleague games, so they're going to cannibalise their own records, perhaps. That I'm grasping at straws here. There's only one team that's in the American League that really matters. So.
Toronto Blue Jays. Right then, Mitch.
Yeah.
So I think the one thing that is quite easy to see is that when we start looking at runs scored, runs against, it's very unlikely that there's going to be teams with the same record like we've got here.
Yes.
Exact same numbers. So that is going to be a difference. In the American League, I'm expecting to see 6 different teams there.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you that one. It's going to look different. But my question is, in general, do you think we get a different playoff picture by looking at the Pythagorean win percentage instead of the current win percentage?
Well, I think from what you've shown me on the Pythagorean win percentage, I think we're going to get a different one because you said there's the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, as I still call them. It looked like they're going to fall off. So I would suggest they're probably going to be different. I would, as you say, tie seems less likely. Mm-hmm. There's the other team that you mentioned that had a boost possibly as well.
Yes, we're not seeing Boston at all in this picture. We're saying they did have that losing record, but actually we're saying a losing record is enough.
And maybe different team in the National League, but I'd be surprised if it's the Mets.
There was no maths,
no power
of
the scale.
runs scored that could bring the Mets up. But here we go. So actually, the winners of the 3 divisions are arguably unchanged. Actually, now the Yankees, as we saw, with which doesn't surprise you think about the Yankees. It doesn't surprise you that they've got 404 runs scored. Yeah. I mean, that's their bronze bombers.
I will be surprised if they manage to keep that going. But
so
that's a different matter.
Now they, as we thought might happen, they've overtaken the Tampa Bay Rays, so they're going to go into the 4th spot now. But actually, like I say, the winners of these divisions are quite fixed, so nothing has changed there. But so the 3 winners are still the 3 winners, other than, like we say, that New York Yankees Tampa Bay tiebreaker's gone the other way.
Yeah.
But the key thing is those next best, the non-winners, have completely shifted around. So Philadelphia Phillies, San Diego Padres in terms of the National League out of the playoff contention. The Chicago Cubs jump up into 4th spot, which, is different because, like we say, these wildcard things, you get an ahead advantage and stuff, so that is crucial. And then out of nowhere, we've got from before, we've got the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Washington Nationals.
That would be surprising. I'd be surprised if it's the Nationals and not the Padres, because the Padres are one of the bigger teams at the moment. So it would be interesting.
And then on the American League side, as I say, we sort of know the 3 winners in Tampa Bay have sort of stayed where they are. Cleveland and those 3 teams all tied with their losing record gone. Mm-hmm. Unsurprisingly, your favourite team, Boston, have catapulted themselves into 5th spot.
Yep.
And again, we saw them before Detroit as well, sneaking into that 6th spot.
Yeah.
So we will see which teams make the playoffs. We seem that we're quite fixed on our winners of the divisions. Mm-hmm. Yankees, Tampa Bay, let's see what happens there. But we'll see which of these other teams end up in the playoffs come October. And we'll CoU on the Code of Uncertainty again soon.